and welcome to Ask Indy. Today we are once again looking at stuff that's come through our letterbox. Now, most of you, if you live in Scotland, will have got this little pamphlet, little booklets through the post.
If you're not living in Scotland, you're probably not going to be watching this.
If you're not living in Scotland and you have no say in the independence referendum, you're probably, well, you might be an expat watching this thinking, what's going on? So Paul, I think that was wrong of you to say that.
I'm sorry.
Apologise.
I did.
You did actually. You said I'm sorry, and I went, right, apologise. What do you think I'm sorry means? So we're going to look at this. This is a brochure that came in this morning, and it's an impartial brochure from the British Electoral Committee. And most of it is a guide on how to vote. It kind of shows you what the ballot paper is going to look like, and it explains what the polling station is like, and when you go, and the different ways of voting. That is fine, right? It shows you what the ballot looks like. So, it's got a guide to voting.
Which we're not really going to cover too.
It's called Voting Guide. We're not covering that at all. We just felt it was maybe important to draw people's attention to the fact that, and this is unprecedented because you don't normally get this in a voting guide. You normally just get the.
Here's what you do.
It's
normally like one sheet.
It's normally like a page or two where it just says, "This is the day you vote. These are the places you go, and this is how you vote, and this is what the paper will look like that you put your cross on," and that's it. But for this particular vote, they've decided to give both sides a page each to promote their agenda, shall we say? Yeah, that's probably the best thing. Well, there's a wee yes page and there's a wee no page. Okay, and we're going to have that's what we're here today, is to have a look at what these pages say. Oh, we're going to look at we'll
jump into the no side.
I think so, because really, we're here. We've said a lot of reasons why we're supporting yes.
Yeah,
and the yes,
all our videos are basically all reasons.
And it kind of basically says the same thing. You vote yes. Very positive stuff. There's a picture of a wee baby's hand and an adult's hand, and it's basically saying Scotland's future. You vote yes. We take decisions into our own hand. You get the government that you vote for. And that's basically it. It does say a no vote means a future stifled by repeated failures of Westminster governments that we didn't vote for, that's a point we've laboured again and again, the fact that if you vote no, you are voting for the status quo, which means chances are Scotland are going to get a government they didn't vote for.
Yeah.
Okay?
I quite like this second last section as well. September the 18th is a once in a lifetime opportunity to create a thriving new nation. I think that's poignant. That's very, very poignant.
Well, it is true.
I don't think we're going to get an opportunity.
Certainly
like
not
again. Not in our generation.
Not in our lifetime. In our lifetime, this is not going to come up again.
Yeah.
I don't think. No matter how close it might be, I don't think this will come up again. And I think some people are actually holding back, thinking, I don't think we're ready for it. Maybe next time. We're not going to see it next time. So this is it. This is your once in a lifetime chance to vote for change, as it says there, to create a thriving new nation. Okay, yeah. So that's the yes side. Even though I just said we were going to deal with the no side, we've dealt with the yes side first. But that's that out of the way. Let's have a look at what the Better Together people are telling us. Although, interestingly, it doesn't really. It says in the very small print at the bottom, Better Together. They've got rid of Better Together. They have rebranded it now as No Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Better Together things are way down the bottom there in the wee small print. It's now No Thanks. And it was no, and they've added in the thanks, which is obviously meant to be a wee bit more positive. Because I think people's complaint was that the no side, by its very name, no, people have viewed it. It is quite a negative side because it's called no. So putting the thanks, I don't know if that really makes it less negative. If you say no thanks,
I suppose it's polite.
It's politer. It's polite. It's polite negativity. That's what it is. So we're going to look at the politely negative side of things. Is there anything in the Better Together side? Are there any facts that they present that you maybe would like to take issue with, Paul?
Yeah, thanks for that leading question.
You're very welcome.
If we leave, then we lose the strength of the UK pound. That's only true if we refuse to enter into a currency union.
Well, it's not if we refuse. It's if we are refused a currency union, or if we refuse one. They present that single sentence says, if we leave, we lose the strength of the UK pound. No, we don't. We only do if there is, as you say, if there is no currency union. And that is obviously undecided at the moment. It's up in the air. One of the big problems we have, and a lot of people have said this whole campaign, especially the yes side, there's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of best case scenarios being presented.
Yeah.
And the reason that there are so many unknowns is because the UK government has deliberately not made its position clear on anything. Because if they were to come out and say, we'll have a currency union because it's in
Yeah.
our best interest. If
They
were
don't want
say,
to create a
well,
safety
they
net
don't.
for people who want to vote
Because
yes,
they like
and
to be
people
able,
who are
they
floating.
like to be able to say you're not going to have a currency union, you're not going to have this, you're not going to have that.
Yeah,
If they
'cause,
come out,
I mean, the desired result of that is folk are going to be like, oh, well, if we're not getting that, vote no.
yeah. So I mean, I understand why they're doing that, but to actually put that in the electoral thing, that's not true. I
Yeah.
mean, it should have an asterisk at least saying we lose the strength of the UK pound. Brackets if our side decide to be horrible and say you're not having the pound anymore. I mean, we've established this already. Scotland can keep the pound. It's an internationally traded currency. Many countries use the pound. The only thing we might lose, as you've said, is the currency union with the Bank of England. But we will only lose that if they decree it to be so.
Yeah.
And many people on the yes side have said. In fact, there are people on the better together side
Bank of
admitted as well.
England's not
The
even-
Bank of England they've not really made their position totally clear. But everybody seems to be of the same opinion, though, that a currency union, if we vote for independence, a currency union is definitely in the best interest of everybody.
I was reading quotes the other day where Alistair Darling, was saying a currency union
It's
would make
desirable.
more sense.
I think he said it was desirable.
Yeah.
It would make sense, and it does make sense. So that's a
Lie.
misleading fact or a
Yeah.
lie, if you want to call that. Lie number one, right
Yeah.
there, bang slap in the middle of the document. Anything else that you'd like to take issue with, Paul?
This would mean that we would pay more for our mortgages, credit cards, and loans. This isn't set by the Westminster government. This is set by the individual mortgage companies, credit card companies, and loan companies.
Yeah, the government doesn't set mortgage rates. It has nothing to do with the government. The government doesn't set credit card rates. It's individual banks and lenders that set all these things.
Yeah. I entered into an argument on Twitter with someone over this very point, and what was given to me as an example is, oh, well, Virgin credit cards, they're a British company. Now, see if you look into it, Virgin credit cards are actually owned by MBNA, the Bank of America. So this is a company that is setting interest rates, loan rates, that is an American company.
Yeah,
Like,
so that independence wouldn't affect that because
No,
they'll
not
still
at
be in
all.
America. They're not going to have to relocate from America because we become an independent country. So that again isn't true. It's a scaremongery, fear factor, project fear, whatever you want to call it. It's a scare tactic to try. It's a booga booga story. The next sentence. Don't worry, we're not going to go through every single sentence.
No.
The next sentence really annoys me. It says, and this again is very declarative. It's matter of fact. If we leave, we are putting our pensions at risk. Says who?
No.
I mean, the pensions companies have said that people who've contributed to the UK pension pot will carry on getting their pension as per usual. And obviously there'll be people in Scotland, once we become independent, we'll start paying into a different fund, and there'll be, it'll be worked out in proportions basically. That's, some of the pension money will be eventually, like for younger people like ourselves who've paid money into the UK system, we'll then start paying money into a Scottish system, and it'll be like a kind of pro rata thing where you get some money from the Scottish government, some money from the UK Treasury. But our pensions are not at risk. And I know for a fact that Better Together people are going round houses. They're actually knocking on doors, canvassing people, and then saying to them, see if you vote yes, you won't have a pension. You'll freeze and you'll starve. I spoke to someone who'd actually heard this, a wee old guy, and he was
That's
terrified.
disgusting.
You'll have no pension, you will freeze and you will die, and you will starve. None of those things are true. And I mean, the pension at risk, that's actually in this unbiased document. I mean, obviously this page is paid for by Better to get this bit, but this is a thing coming through your door from the Electoral Commission, and it says your pension is at risk if you vote yes. It's not. It's not.
Can I read you a quote?
Yes, you can, please.
This is from Department for Works and Pensions. If Scotland does become independent, this will have no effect on your state pension. You will continue to receive it just as you do at present. A letter from the pension service.
So that's from the DWP. The people who pay your pensions at the moment, they're saying a vote for independence will have no effect on your pension. No effect.
No.
So your pension is at risk. That's rubbish.
I
Not
was-
true at all. There's your proof. The DWP themselves, the people in charge of the pensions, have said no risk, no change, no difference. So moving on from the facts, or
Okay.
misrepresentation of the facts, because these are not facts. Okay, pensions not at risk. Okay, credit cards, mortgages not set by the government, not at risk, and the UK pound not at risk unless the government decides to do something really stupid from their own point of view and refuses a currency union. Doesn't make sense from their point of view. We have a little section, a little sidebar that appears in the Better Together page, and it's
a
the
real working mum.
it's the views of a real working mum from Canvas Lang. Now, I'm just going to read bits of it out, because there are parts of it I not that I have a problem with. I just think there's something oddly familiar and slightly suspicious about what this working mum from Cambuslang said. She said, "I'm voting no in September because I believe we can have the best of both worlds in Scotland."
That sounds oddly familiar.
Well, the title is The Best of Both Worlds for Scotland. That's the title of Better Together. It also uses the phrase best of both worlds in the kind of actual, if you read that bit, it says both of both worlds, best of both worlds on there as well. So she's saying that. She also says, we can have more decisions made here and have the strength and security of being part of the UK. It also talks about that. It talks about the security and stability of being part of the UK. In this bit, the Better Together bit. So she said that too. Maybe it's a coincidence. She then goes on to say, going it alone would be a massive leap into the unknown. Start of the second paragraph. Voting for separation would be a huge leap into the unknown. So they've changed the word from huge to massive.
Massive to huge.
So I have a problem with that. I mean, it's either a coincidence. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's either she is the person who came up with all these slogans and they're just giving her the credit now. Because maybe they didn't know. Maybe because Best of Both Worlds, they didn't have that at the start. Maybe they spoke to this woman in Cambuslang and she was standing outside wherever she is on the road there with her kid and her husband, and she said all this stuff like, "Oh, best of both worlds, safety and security, leap into the unknown." They're like, "This is good stuff. We're going to use this in our manifesto." But if so, that was a bit stupid to put that next to that, because it's just repeating the same stuff, and it's almost verbatim, the exact same stuff. So I suspect that what she said has maybe just been written by one of the Better Together spin doctor people. That might not be true. Might just be a big coincidence.
My take on it is, if you repeat a lie often enough and long enough and loud enough, it becomes the truth. So Best of Both Worlds is coming true. Anyway, so coming back to the real working mother from Cambuslang. Final thing she said, very loaded, I don't like this. It says, "Do I want to put my family's future at risk just so that nationalists can get what they want?" Yeah, you do.
She said no thanks after that. Then it's the nationalist thing. We've talked about this before. I mean, there is at no point in the Yes Scotland bit does it say anything about nationalism or nationalists.
I'm going to come out and say this right now. I hate bagpipes and I'm a vegetarian, so I don't eat haggis. So nationalism has nothing to do with it.
The problem I have is we keep being told, the nationalists want this. It's not about national identity. Nationalism this. The only side that keeps saying things like, "I'm proud to be Scottish and I'm proud also to be British," it's the Better Together side. They're the ones that are making something. They're making something national about it. It's not the Yes side. We've heard people. I mean, my partner was out canvassing the other day and she got called a Nazi. You and I watched a video of that SDL guy shouting and saying, "You saw a bunch of Nazis, is that Nazis? It's anti-English." It's not anti-English. It's not Nazis. It's not nationalism. It's about people in Scotland that live here. Doesn't matter where you're born, but people that live in Scotland, work in Scotland, pay their taxes in Scotland, would like to have a fair say in how their country's run. That's all it's about. It's nothing to do with the nationalists getting what they want. It's about the people of Scotland getting what they want. It's about getting the government that we want, the government that we voted for, not the government in England that England have voted for. That's what it's about. So vote yes in September, because it's the right thing to do. Best of both worlds. I got
nothing. That was brilliant.
That was a bit of a rant. So I'm sure every Tipco UK enjoyed that bit, because I didn't breathe for quite a long section there.
How could I interrupt that?
That's all from this booklet. Read it. I mean, read the other stuff. It is important, like telling you where to go and how to fill in the form. That is important. But this stuff, I mean, come on, really? Best of both worlds times 3? I don't think so. So, that's all from us today. We'd like to say thank you for listening. Again, if you get any comments, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. You can probably shout loud enough, we might hear you. And if you write a really cutting question or comment, we'll reply to it in one of these videos. So,
particularly when you make reference to Ian looking like the guy from Porridge.
We covered that in the last video. I don't think we need to go back through the Ronnie Barker stuff a second time. I know you like it because you come out of it a bit better, because the guy, his cellmate that's played by Kate Beckinsale, dad, he's not as bad looking as Ronnie Barker. So you don't mind that. No, I get Ronnie Barker. Anyway, and the producer said he's a Ronnie. It's my Ronnie Corbett impression. So there you go. I can do best of both worlds. Both Ronnies. Right. Anyway, we'll see you next time on Ask Indy. Bye. You could vote yes, you could vote no, you could pretend that you still don't know. I will suggest, I might even confess, what will be best is if you vote yes.